Next piece of line is the crank lever casting. It's a very straightforward little part. Center slot, a couple of holes on the ends, and some relief work. This is what the casting looks like to start with. I'm going to grab a file, clean that up, and then we're going to figure out how to hold it. Let's do it. Majority of the casting lines have been removed except for down on the inside where it gets channeled out anyway. There are some inclusions on this one, but we'll see how it cleans up when we're done. Time to do a mechanical inspection and figure out what's flat, what's off center, what's on center, and what's tapered. I'll bet you I find a little bit of everything. But it's a rough casting, so next step is critical to the quality of the entire part. Let's measure it and get back to you. The side that I'm going to truss to start with is marked in red. That will be my driving side. There is a taper to this part of about 12 thousandths, so I really can't trust squeezing it full length on both sides. So I have more grip along the registration side and minimal grip along the tapered side. This block can float a little bit. Ideally it should be a point, but if it was a point or a sphere, it would dent this material, so I'm not going to go that way. Initially I'm going to set the part in here subsurface. I think you can see I'll be milling all four sides of the bosses about the center, and at this time I can bring the indicator down and find the center of that particular part. Not the rib, but the entire part. I'm going to call that 0. All cuts from this point forward will be symmetrical about this center line. This end is longer, and because of the rotation of the cutter and the flexibility of the part, this part may have a tendency to want to bounce this way and grab. If this were a lot thinner, that's exactly what it would do. So I'm going to walk back and forth across this a little different manner until I get close to the finished cut. Let's take a quick dimensional check and come back for the finish cut. Now we can be sure that both journals on the end are exactly the same size, since it was done with a stationary y-axis. The x-axis moved, but as it jumped up and over, the table did not move, so the front and rear were done with the same setting. I'm now going to bank on these surfaces and establish the thickness of the face. Paying close attention to the rear surface. So the front surface is going to clean up at a very strange cleanup, only because of the taper. Let's change over the setup. Get it done. Part has been repositioned on a small fixture plate and aligned with the two end bosses. I did double check the end bosses against the body of the casting, and it was close enough that I can get away with doing it the way I'm doing it. If in doubt, drill and ream a couple of pinholes, put some pins in, and just drive the casting up against the pins. That would work as well if you can trust it being centrally located. For cosmetic purposes, I'm making sure that my holes are going in the middle of these bosses. These are two different size holes. Do not get caught on that if you're making this part. And whatever you do, if you're going to put it in a fixture, make sure that you space up the center before you clamp down, because the ends are higher than the center. If you clamp down on the center, you're going to bend it, crack it, introduce an axial lack of parallelism between the end features, whatever. There's a dozen different things that could go wrong. So beware, do not bend this part. Don't ask me how I know. Let's drill and ream some holes in the end of this, and the philosophy here is to drill and ream the holes all the way through into the fixture plate, both ends, and then remove all of this happiness, slide it down onto a couple of gauge pins, clamp it over the gauge pins, and do the slot in the center. That's just the easiest, fastest way to do this. Well, let's do it. Once I cut the center out of this particular feature, I move the table up and down to allow for the thickness of the saw to then create a slot equal to the dimension on the print. That is a 51 thousandths wide saw. That's about 1 millimeter and a quarter, or just under a 1/16 of an inch, and the final slot is 332.093. And decimal wise, that's what that is. Millimeter wise, I don't know. What is it? 2.35 millimeters, give or take, for anybody who wants to split hairs. All right, let's take this thing out for a second, blow it off, clean it up, take a short look at it before we do the center slot under the clamps. Quick look at the progress up till now. You know, if I had more patience today, I'd have put this up on a rotary table and nipped these edges off. Don't rule it out, I might still do it. All right, the only thing left to do on this part is a small screw hole in the end and clean up the center slot for the eccentric cam that drives the arm. That moves the ram. So far, so good. Be very careful with these pieces. These are incredibly delicate and fragile when they start getting down this small. And the slot that goes in here is going to open this up to almost twice its original width, which means if you were holding it from the outside, the crush risk is really high. So this is going to be done on a fixture plate as well. And those will be the last steps. So far, so good. Following the final inspection of the part for the last operation, you can see the benefit behind reaming the holes all the way into the fixture plate. I'm just going to put this guy back on here. Set it down, and it's right back on location, so no harm, no foul. Everything is good. I'm going to put a little aluminum clamp on each side, and to keep this one from caving in, I'm going to put a pin on the inside of the yoke just for a little additional support. All I have to do is keep it down, so the torque on these clamps is going to be very light. The pins in the fixture will provide the lateral stability for the milling operation, and it's a very small cutter anyway. And in case you haven't had enough of the back of my hand, there we go. Now, for all you guys that don't have digital readouts and may encounter a backlash issue messing up a pocket once in a while, what I'm going to do right here is probably a really good solution for that, and I hope that you can grasp what I'm about to show you. The cutter is now above the surface, the top surface. I'm going to back the table off, and I'm going beyond that back wall. I'm going to drive the dials in a clockwise direction, okay, clockwise. And I'm going to come back to my finished wall distance. When I take this cutter and I traverse, plunge it, and then traverse this back face, the next move will be a clockwise move. So the dial is clockwise loaded here to this corner, clockwise loaded again to this face, and then counterclockwise. So if you have to worry about backlash, when you plunge this, go halfway across. And when you come back around, connect the dots. Let's see if that works. Setup for the tap hole is very straightforward, very similar to the earlier setups. I indicated the pin going through the center to get my x-axis alignment, and then the y-axis front to rear on the casting. Simple. Okay, final product. Very symmetrical part. I think the approach was legit. Everything worked out well. The hand blending came out nice. I did blast the surfaces that I filed to try to make it look more like a casting again, which is a combination I like. I like the machine finish and the cast surface. I just think it goes well. There are some inclusions in this, but they are non-obstructive inclusions. Nothing's going to happen there. Still not sure if I'm going to knock those little corners off. I may at a later date. I may not film it, but I might come back and show it to you. That is what the part ultimately looks like. And yes, I used my new visor to do this. Little overwhelming if you're not used to those things. And hey, check back on that video if you watch that magnifier video. There's Amazon links now, and you can get those visors a lot cheaper. Anyway, that's it for this installment. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you saw something you can use, something to make your life easier. Strobe Advanced Innovations in Austin, Texas. I'm out.